The Battle of Stalingrad was one of the bloodiest and most challenging conflicts of World War II. This struggle took place in Stalingrad, present-day Volgograd, between Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union from August 23, 1942, to February 2, 1943. The war was not just about capturing a strategic target. It reflected an ideological and historical conflict between two colossal powers. The Soviet Union's defense line was established on the western bank of the Volga River, on the outskirts of the city of Stalingrad. Adolf Hitler's goal of weakening the Soviets by capturing this strategic point led the German army to this region. However, the Battle of Stalingrad turned into one of history's longest and most brutal sieges, rather than the short-term blockade Hitler had planned. As the cold winter set in, the streets and buildings of Stalingrad became a frantic scene of conflict between the two sides. Thousands of soldiers resisted the unprecedented challenges of an extreme winter and war throughout history. The city was not only strategically important, but also perceived as an ideological symbol. Both sides were, in a sense, fighting not only for territory but also for their ideals and beliefs. The German army, unaccustomed to the winter conditions of the Soviet Union, advanced helplessly in freezing cold and snow. Meanwhile, the besieged Soviet forces continued their resistance, engaging in relentless battles with German troops at every street corner and under every building. This struggle unfolded not only among soldiers, but also among civilians, making the streets of Stalingrad a unique battlefield in terms of both military strategy and human drama. Cold and hunger slowly consumed both sides. On one hand, Germans were freezing as they advanced through snow-covered streets, and on the other hand, Soviet defenders struggled with food and medicine shortages. Despite the difficulties shaking the morale of both sides, determination and patriotism defined the character of both armies in the Battle of Stalingrad. The turning point of the Battle of Stalingrad came with the Soviet Red Army's counteroffensive. Under the leadership of Marshal Georgy Zhukov, the Red Army launched an effective attack against the weakened German forces and harsh winter conditions. Faced with increasing Soviet resistance, German forces had to retreat, and the siege of Stalingrad was broken. This victory not only provided the Soviet Union with a strategic advantage, but also a psychological triumph. The German superiority was shattered, leaving a significant impact on Allied forces. The Battle of Stalingrad marked a turning point that altered the course of history. The outcome of this war signaled the end of an era for Nazi Germany and the rise of the Soviet Union. With the end of the war, the echoes of the Battle of Stalingrad resonated throughout the world. Germany's defeat changed the course of the war and demonstrated the strength of the Soviet Union. Stalingrad became not only a strategic victory, but also a symbol of the sacrifices and resistance of millions. Following the Battle of Stalingrad, the Soviet Union's triumph had an impact not only on a region, but on the entire world. Allied forces set aside their reservations about collaborating with the Soviets and united against Nazi Germany. The victory at Stalingrad not only provided a strategic advantage, but also uplifted the morale of all Allied forces. The liberation of Stalingrad was not just a military triumph. It was a victory of human solidarity and patriotism. The civilian population under siege continued their resistance, serving as a source of morale for the soldiers. Even in the midst of war, the people of Stalingrad, in unity, resisted without losing hope. However, the Battle of Stalingrad was also a victory achieved at a great cost. The city turned into ruins, reflecting the cruelty of war and inhumane conditions. Streets were filled with destroyed buildings and corpses. Stalingrad, beyond being a strategic target, became a place narrating the suffering and sacrifices of its people. With the end of the war, the effects of the Battle of Stalingrad were felt for many years. The defeat of Nazi Germany changed the course of World War II, leading to the Soviet Union emerging as the victor of the war. However, this victory came at a significant cost. The war in Stalingrad claimed the lives of millions, and the city carried the destructive effects of the war for a generation. The Battle of Stalingrad is one of the unforgettable pages in history. The memory of this war reminds us of the resilience, patriotism, and solidarity of humanity. Stalingrad is not just a symbol of a strategic triumph, it is also an example of how people can come together in the most challenging moments in history. This struggle stands as one of the most impactful and instructive stories written in history. When the dark shadow of war descended upon Stalingrad, the city transcended being merely a strategic point. Between August 23, 1942 and February 2, 1943. During that harrowing period, Stalingrad was shaped not only by its buildings and streets, but also by the heavy losses carried in the hearts of its people. The German army found itself facing a city resisting not only the cold and hunger, but also a city where the walls were not just made of stone and concrete, but hearts courageously resisting to protect their loved ones, hopes, and dreams. Soviet defenders fought for their besieged city, not only for its strategic importance, but also for their own freedom, families, and homeland. In the midst of war, the residents of Stalingrad stood firm in unity and solidarity. Children, the elderly, women, and men, despite the brutality of war, resisted without losing hope. With every falling bomb, in every street skirmish, people became more tightly knit. However, this resistance came at a heavy cost. As the streets overflowed with corpses, buildings lay in ruins, and wounded hearts were filled with invisible scars. The war in Stalingrad unfolded not only on the front lines, but also in homes, streets, and hearts. Surviving in a besieged city meant facing not only enemy fire, but also struggling with food and medicine shortages. Yet these challenges brought out the resilience and determination of the people. The people of Stalingrad, even when confronted with hunger, cold, and death, never lost their dedication to each other and their love for the homeland. With the end of the war, the victory in Stalingrad was not just a strategic advantage, but also a triumph of the stories of resistance and sacrifice of individuals. Every falling bomb, every lost loved one, and every liberated street were part of a human drama. Stalingrad, more than just a name of a historical event, would be remembered as a symbol of human dignity and resilience. This city, filled with the harsh realities of war, taught throughout history how strong humanity could be and how people could stand together in the face of adversity. In this epic tale, we confronted the harsh realities of the Battle of Stalingrad. The cold and merciless face of war tells a story beyond the capture of a strategic point. Stalingrad is not just rubble and debris, it is also a place paved with the resistance, sacrifices, and losses of its people. Today we journeyed through this crucial page of history and shared the challenging moments lived by the people of Stalingrad. This struggle is not just a symbol of a strategic victory, but also of humanity's resistance and solidarity. The dramatic events on the streets and in homes teach us how resilient people can be and how they can come together. Please remember that the true cost of war is felt not only in military strategies, but also in the lives of individuals and communities. The events in Stalingrad, by learning from painful past experiences, serve as a call for peace and understanding. If this content has been meaningful and instructive for you, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Let's continue exploring the unforgettable pages of history together. Don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comments, and feel free to mention topics you'd like to see addressed in the future. Thank you for spending this valuable time with us. Until the next video, stay healthy and happy.